We live. Just a minute.
Just in time. All right.
Give a minute, Jerry.
Yes, I think it's on.
Sorry. I'm having an issue.
I'll just keep my paper and pen handy if perchance is needed.
I'm having an issue. Sorry.
It's on. I can see it.
Can you
Okay,
see
I think it's time to start. It's on. It's on. Okay, Namaste Rachna ma'am. Namaste. How are you?
I am good. Thank you so much. I hope you are safe and happy.
Yes, ma'am. And welcome to the Learning Experience Conversations, which you will be having with E2 for the next 45 minutes. E2 is, as you know, is our co-founder and associate for the Rex Karmavir Global Fellowship and the Rex Karmavir Education Change Champion Awards that were instituted last year, and you were one of the award recipients. So we look forward to a great learning experience with you. Over to you, E2. Thank you so much. I'm going to be a fly on the ball for the next 45 minutes and then join you in the last 15 minutes or so. Okay.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste, Rachna ji, once again.
Namaste.
And welcome to our learning experience. We call it the learning experience with our educators. On Friday, the conversations that we have. On Mondays, we call it the Inspire experience, which we have it with our ex fellows. And on Wednesday, we have another conversation with our youth fellows. We call it youth experience. So welcome to learning experience. And I'm going to just straight away dive into the conversation with you. And my first question to you would be, give us a little peep into your journey as a teacher, as a guru, as a educator. What was it like when you were a little girl, and how did it all start?
To begin with, what I can think is when I was in class 3, that was the time, whenever I used to get, things to learn and memorize and recitations and things like this. I'm a small town female in Allahabad. So we had a bungalow with lots of plants. And I would go there. Each plant would have a name and I would be the teacher. I would have a scale in my hand and I would learn things and then act as if now I've become a teacher. And, that role playing, that is what I used to do. And this used to happen quite frequently. And then my mother saw this and she got me a blackboard. My mother was incidentally also a teacher and she retired as a principal. She's only 89 years young.
Great.
And she was a teacher of English at that point in time, in those days. And so she got me a blackboard and a chalk and things. And when I had to do work, I used to do that. So that was the first time I think I felt that I would like to be a teacher. Then in class, I think 7th or 8th, the nun, one of my nuns, they asked me in school as to who would like to be what, typical question. And somebody said IS officer because that was the fashion. They asked me and I said, I want to be a teacher. And so the nun said, well, for that, you have to, study hard and you have to actually become, no, I said, I want to be a principal. So he says, well, you have to study hard and be a teacher first. I said, for that, you have to give me a job first. And so she says, okay, but I remember many, many years later, when I was there, she rang me up and she says, there is a vacancy, come and join. So that's how it all began. And then we used to have those outhouses, servants' quarters. I would take those children and they're, my servants' children, I would sit with them and I would, write and teach and things. So I think that's how it began.
Great.
My
And
journey.
you're taking me back to my story because I used to make the, those Godrej almiras, which was green color as this blackboard. And of course, I went into teaching because my mother was also a principal and father a professor. So, I think that inspires you a lot, and to be able to talk and, interact and all of that also begins as a really kid. That's so beautiful. And I think it's so early in your life, in class third, you knew that you like doing that.
That. And but after that, I had lots of other things that I wanted to do.
Yeah,
I wanted to be a lawyer then.
right.
And the reason why I wanted to be a lawyer was because my father was a lawyer.
Okay.
And then what had happened is that when I was in grade 9th or 10th, he was a criminal lawyer, and one of the sort of notorious dacoits, he hit him, and he sort of hurt, his skull was almost what should I say? It was hammered almost, and he lost his speech. And for an entire year it happened, and that was the time I said, I'm going to be a lawyer and I'm going to fix everybody who does anything wrong. So that happened. However, when I went to my graduation, that was the time when I told my father, I want to do law. My father said, no, you can't do law. It's not meant for you, because that was way back in what, the 70s, early 70s. And if I had done this, I would have been the first female lawyer of Allahabad.
Oh, wow.
But he sort of dissuaded me from that. So there went that career of mine. And
That's so beautiful, when you become a guru or a teacher or an educator, you sort of help in making lawyers and everyone who goes on to do what not in life.
that's how I justified myself.
I have also read about you that, you're someone that who also believes in having school as a microcosm, or have school as a mini world of the world that is outside. I want you to kind of throw a little light there.
See, they always say a school is a world in itself. A school is a mini world. A school is a mini life. And whatever you will learn in life later on, it's all there in various shades in the school. You have seniors, you have elders, you have juniors, you have to listen to few people, you boss over a few people, you have to learn to take decisions, you sort of become a leader, you learn failures, you learn to lose because your house loses, you learn to win, you learn to bring a team together, you have to take decisions, because when you become a student council, you have to take various decisions. At the same time, through debates and deliberations and big fights and all that we have, there are certain issues you take, and then you see the two sides of the coin. Nothing is right and nothing is wrong. So you learn to understand the other person's point of view, which is very, very important in today's time as well. Unless you try and understand the other person, how are you going to interact? So that is something again. Then with exchange programs, you meet people from different countries, you understand their culture, you understand what is good in their culture, you learn these things. So when you go out into this big bad world or the big good world, then you have already seen the various shades of human relationship and human emotions. And that is what actually happens in a school. That's what I feel. And it is good to always strengthen these things, because then only resilience and emotional resilience will develop, which is so much lacking today, especially.
True, true. I agree with you completely, because I think what teachers can do, and I always give this analogy that teachers are like potters. They can, deftly use their soft hands to mold something which is very, very resilient.
Yes.
Yeah. You also talk about a lot about egalitarian society, creative children, and creating all this creative centers which are egalitarian, schools as egalitarian creative centers. Tell us more about that.
See, only academics and books is something that is absolutely no. I was never a person like this. I was extremely talkative. I was mischievous. I was into sports. I had reached the nationals in sports. I was into music, dance, drama, all so many things, into All India Radio, talking about things, writing for Patrika, and it developed a hockey team, and this is all in the 70s.
Yes.
So, and when I did this, I realized that this was actually the real learning, creativity. Because when you're building up a hockey team, you are developing team spirit. You are developing, this is who's going to be where, which is the place where they are going to be. So this is what you're developing. When you are doing music, a sitar, you are learning to control your thoughts, be calm and resilient, and then understand what nature brings with it. So this is what you learn. When you are into sports, you have the fighting spirit. You have that killer instinct. I have to do this. So these were, and when you're doing debates and all, again, you are learning to reason out things, rationalize things, you know argue out things, believe in something, and then have the conviction and try to convince the other person. So convince or get convinced. So these are all the things that I had learned as a little girl, and that is why I felt that these are the real things that have to be taught. Knowledge per se can be got from anywhere. So especially today, if you see, the children know have more. Google Maharaj, as I say, will tell you everything.
Yeah.
So what is it that you need to teach? Creativity, sort of understanding, bonding, decision making. These are the things, different types of skills, because these skills will, actually stand you in good stead. These are the things which are going to help you in life.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, whatever we are learning today is going to be obsolete, right? So what is going to help you? That learning, unlearning, and relearning. So if you have the base of foundation right, then you will be able to build everything. So that is why these creatives said, oh, we have beautiful big fights. It's such a beautiful experience. And we had a recent debate, online debate, all India debate. So all these things help in
So
developing this.
you
Yes,
speak our language, I mean, my language per se, and our Rex language of learning, relearning, unlearning,
yes,
and learning to learn, because it's
yes,
the learning that is very important, and you can go on to learn all your life. And children need to understand that also, that you don't it's character that takes you forward, not your competence. Because you may be learning something today in the books, you may be doing something, but you may end up doing something else. So if you have this holistic uh, upbringing or holistic learning, then things are very, very easy in life.
absolutely.
Yeah. I have been taking this word from your conversation right now is resilience.
Mm.
So, you know, tell me more about that, because it's very, very important. And I think the times that we are sitting right now, this generation of students, they are going to carry this word, they're going to carry this learning that they're getting in this 4 or 5 months all their lives. And it has kind of topsy turvy a lot of mindsets, a lot of thoughts, and a lot of things that were there. So,
Right.
uh, tell me about that.
My personal belief is that emotional resilience is the most important thing today. A child is inside the house, the child is not able to go out. How does a child react? How does a child behave? The child has to be told that this too shall pass. Fear, psychosis, fear has not to be embedded in him at this point. And for this, I always say it is not just the students' emotional resilience as well, the parents. Do you see the number of infights that are happening? The anxiety level in the parents is so palpable. You pick up the phone and the mother is screaming at me. And then I can understand. The fact is that there is something that has happened at home. Maybe the father is not getting his salary, or there is some other issue that is having an impact on the child, that is making the child go into depression, or he's in a sad state. How will that child learn? So at that time you have to hold hand. We are having lots of little workshops for the children, lots of little talks for the children, telling them that what, your parents are also undergoing a lot of emotional upheaval. So you have to understand, you are my children, you are the ones who will learn and understand your parents. And if you understand your parents, just give a little pat, give a little hug, and tell your mama, I understand you are going through a little problem. I know daddy is not getting his full salary. Never mind. We will sail through it. Just know that I love you. This little thing will bring a tear in the eye of the mother, and the father will understand, my child is going to become a beautiful human being. That is what we are trying to do.
So the mental health thing is coming out a lot. And is there anything other than, the normal things that you used to do in the day schools? What is it that you're doing about the mental health? Because I think when you're counseling your children, in some way, indirectly and directly, you're also counseling the family, and it's
Yes.
having a good impact on them. So could you share some story here which was...
uh, Actually, what happened that there is a child, he has not been able to pay money for quite a few months,
Okay.
and the father is going through some mental issues. Maybe he's going through a depression. The mother wants to hide this, and so that doesn't want to tell the child that we can't pay. But we came to know, so we rang up the mother, and just the mother, the counselor, and myself, we talked. We told her it doesn't matter, and she was crying over the phone. She was crying, and she says, "Thank you so much for understand. What should I tell my child? He's in grade 9." I said, "He is a mature child. Sit with your child, tell your child, this is what we are going through. If you can't do it, tell me, we will tell. You are also there, we are also there. And then you will realize that tomorrow, this child will be a very sensitive child. Even if you have less to give, he will be, considerate and happy, sensitive, emotional, what a real human being should be." So this happened just recently. As a matter of fact, in 2 days' time, I have scheduled two other talks with two other parents who have written saying that there is some issue and they would like to talk. So these are, it just touches you. It just saps me out of all my strength. And I don't know, I had just those tears and it just comes down.
Yeah.
So
Rachnaji, tell me that, you write, you're an author, you're a poet. Tell me what do you write and why do you write?
okay, there is another story to it.
I'm
And
here
this
listening.
story is that I told you my father was a criminal lawyer. So he used to go for something to the villages called the Moka Moaina. You to go and see that place, where the scene of crime happened. And, as a little girl, I would go with him, and, because it was a nice ride for us. And when he would go around just visiting the place, I would sit under the tree with my brother. And then, what I used to do is I would gather all the children over there, and I would start talking. And I realized that these children were finding it very difficult to learn English, but the hunger to learn English was very much there. Then what happened? Anyway, it went again, it was on the back burner. Many years later, I was a very sick woman. I was 9 months in bed and I was almost written off, saying that I may not survive. That was the time when I was in bed. I thought that I am not going to live. Can I do something? So with a little table like thing, I would perch myself at the bed and I started writing for the village children. And this was through the copious method of Hindi, because I had seen even the teachers did not know English or the pronunciation. So I used the Hindi and the English mix, what you may call as inclusive today, and wrote for them. I wrote course books. I wrote workbook. Now this workbook was so exhaustive that the teacher needn't give any homework or anything. It was indirectly helping the teacher to learn, as well as for the child who was the first generation learner. Then after I had finished writing this, I realized that I would sit and I used to tell them stories. And those children used to sit around and we used to sit, under the tree. And then what I did, I thought, let me write some stories and, try and give a value to it, which is very, very relevant in today's context. So I started making these stories and I made those so-called value education books.
Okay.
Again, at that time, I had realized that these children did not know much about the world except their own village and a little more. So I said, maybe a little bit of GK would be good. So again, through Hindi English mix, I created 7, 8 books on GK. And so that at least the bare minimum that they should know, these children should know, because I thought I will not live. So at least, somebody would sort of read this and listen. So that's the reason why actually I started writing what I wrote. And then you're asking me about the poems that I wrote. Well, as I may say, it is self-reflection. I have gone through a lot of things in life. I've seen ups and downs. My father sort of being like this, similar with my own self. I have 2 small kids. My elder son was a very, very scared boy because he thought his mother will not live. I used to feel I've snatched childhood out of my son's life.
Hmm.
It was very, very painful. So I used to write. Like when my child, he wrote his 10th exam and he was not very happy with his results. You know what I wrote? I used to write in Hindi and English. I wrote, if I may just recite, I wrote, एक शहर आएगी कभी उजाला विश्व में लाएगी वही आशाओं का दीप दमकेगा तभी मेरे बेटे निराश न होना कभी मैं रहूं न रहूं साथ तेरे कभी झूम उठूंगी मैं यूं देख खुशी तेरी नाज तुम पर करूंगी हमेशा यूं ही मेरे बेटे निराश न होना कभी this is and then I had seen a lot of people actually sort of problems in families. I had seen a lot of that. So then, it was a short thing which I wrote. It broke this glass. Pieces we picked up to reconstruct the glass. With great difficulty we did, only to find the scars were visible.
Very nice.
So similarly, lots of experiences. These are my experiences, my personal, whatever you may say, journey. That is all in my book, that little book of poems.
You remember we launched our school program that we worked for almost 5 years on it. It's Jerry's research work of over 18 years.
Yes.
Work of 16 years that I was into education and teaching. Then I quit and moved to social development sector. And one of the major areas that where we are talking about is that journaling, writing can be a therapy. And of course, I use it on my other platform as a life coach and a therapist. Is that, and you're telling here that, writing helped you so much. And you
Yes.
brought out so many books that not only it helped you, but also you helped and enjoyed and found the joy of giving to
Yes.
others who did not have. And do you use this journaling therapy of any kind in your school?
Yes, we do. We have wall magazines, we have little journals, and the children write. We give them topics and then they write on it. Because what you're saying is very right. It has a very therapeutic effect. When I wrote these little
Absolutely.
poems and whatever was inside, it came out. It was a release. You felt happy. This is what I tell the children.
Hmm.
What is there in you, take it out, bring it out. It may not be that good, but it will help you into becoming a better person. It will make you a more adjusted person. It will make you not break down.
Yeah, yeah. It's a science that it is proven that how journaling is a therapy and how does it brings focus, mindfulness, and so many other things. We are
Yes,
talking a big time about that in our school program that we had soft launched during the awards, if you remember.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I
So,
remember that.
yeah. Rachnaji, you've also been associated as a resource person for, you know, writing and books and things like that. How is that, and where does your input come in, and how do you choose things, what has to go into the books and things like that? What is the criterion? What goes behind all of that? Because I think it's a very integral and important part of what goes into the books that children would read. And these days it's becoming, there's been a lot of debate about it, that so much has been taken out, so much has been put in this, some terms have been taken out, some terms have been erased, some very important things have been not put into. So how, I mean, you've been there and then and did it, how did it, what is it, tell us about that.
See, the first thing is all this hullabaloo and hue and cry about this has been removed, so it will not help and help. It is, I don't believe in this.
Okay.
Because if you really want to learn, you
Hmm.
will learn. Those, if there is the fire in the belly, you will do it. That is the first thing.
Hmm.
Second thing is that when you're, certain contents that were there, you remove things which are overlapping. If
Okay.
it is there in the social studies as well as in English, can you just remove from one? Can you integrate the two and do it? So that is how it has been removed and done. The content has been done. However, I also feel that when you're choosing a content, it should go from simple to complex.
Hmm.
So when I was writing my own books for the village children, no money taken for that, huh?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what I did was that I was trying to relate it with the village situation there. So the names would also be a Ram or a whatever or a Gita and things like this, which they can relate to. The village name. So then what happens? It is what is called experiential learning.
True.
So today, in today's context, also you have to relate to today's world, not take something that was there 34 years ago. If the national education policy has not been sort of reviewed and sort of brought in after 34 years, you see, for 34 years we have been studying the same thing. The content is the same, the context is the same, where the world is being changing.
True.
How will that fit into today's time? The child is the child of the 21st century.
Right.
So this is what we tried to do. So we tried to put things. Similarly, there was a story about a 12-year-old girl getting married to a 30-year-old man. Why do you want to teach that today in your English lesson? So these type of things have to be removed. So, and for this I feel that really sound educationists who have a good command over the subject should be the ones who should be kept there, and they should be the ones who should decide, nobody else. Because then, as you say, when you churn it, jab manthan karoge, then actual sort of butter will come out.
So inclusivity also has to be there, because
Yes.
we are in a country like India. Inclusivity has to be a big part. Is it happening? And what's your
Yes.
take on inclusivity?
Now it depends. Inclusivity like what? Inclusivity between the staff being inclusive, the students which are differently abled, they are inclusive. Children from different cultures and religion, are they inclusive? Then Hindi and English, as I said, the inclusive book that I wrote, is that inclusive? All these are inclusivity, and you have to weave everything together. So when you put all this, then only inclusivity will come. So if the child is, say, slightly challenged, have your peer group who's going to help.
Right.
If the child is coming from a economically less fortunate than what you are, can you help them with the books? Can you do something? So this is what it will also make you sensitive. At the same time, inclusivity is coming. Can you be peer or become friends or partners with them when you are having your various activities? Pair them up with them. That will be inclusivity. So these are the ways in which you can do it.
So that's such an important integral part of what's happening now. That
Yes,
should be, the hallmark or the focal point of
yes,
everything, because that would also help to end a lot of things which are negative in which are negative and peep into education, which shouldn't be happening.
yes. Like my children, there are a few students who have gone to the village
Yeah.
and they don't have the connectivity, but the mobile works. Can you believe the students and the teachers, they are making small little nuggets, little topics, they're making little points. They are making the screenshot, sending it to their friends in the village. At least they can see with through the mobile.
Yeah.
So what is it? That is being sensitive to them. That is inclusivity. That is making them coming abreast and telling them, "Aisa aisa kar lo." They ring up instead of those. They ring up, "Aisa aisa. This is what has happened. Maybe you can do this." It is so beautiful. Because again, why beautiful? Because my school is catering to the average middle class, lower middle class, and if they have become sensitive, it is always easy for those who have,
Yes.
who can give and feel magnanimous about it. But those who themselves
I have not. Yeah.
have only one device at home,
Yes.
they trying to sort of help, that is beautiful. And that is a beautiful child.
True. True. Um, I'd like to go on to a topic, where you have been globally working with schools abroad, setting up schools abroad, different academic, councils, and how is it working as an auditor, and what's the learning that happened there in setting up there, which you brought about in your school or as an educator?
See, my first foray into sort of going outside and doing something was when I went to Bangkok to set up an international school. Now, this was a very, very beautiful experience. I had never gone and stayed alone in my life. So, so that was the first thing. When I went there, one realized that it is not just teaching. There is
Yeah.
so many other beautiful things that you are learning. We thought
Mm.
we were very good and we were very generous. We were very humble as Indians, and we are, as they say, we Atiti Devo Bhava and things like this. All this was there ingrained in my mind, and I was so full of that. When I went there, saw the Thais, even humbler than what you are, how they take care of you. That's the language which is so soft, even if they disagree with you, how beautifully they disagree with you. This is something we shout, they don't. Then the other thing I learned over there is that since we started with a CBSE school, and then we had an IGSE, and then an IB, and the child could choose anything. That was the time when till class 8, Hindi was compulsory. Now, the Thai students did not know Hindi. They knew Thai, they did not know much English and Hindi. So in one class itself, there were 3 sets of papers that had to be made. So it was step teaching, and, teaching them and then bringing them up to that level from it was a very, very difficult task. It was difficult. There were times when I would just give up and say, nahi hota humse. Right. But then, when you see the children trying to do something, we would sit and have something to eat, and we would do something. Oh, it was beautiful. So that was one thing that I learned. So it was learning for me. As a person, I hope I have become a little better than what I was. To be humble, to understand. So that was one thing. When I went to Japan, I saw that, there was so, the precision, perfection is what they used to do. And the other thing that I learned was the children used to come outside the class, they would remove their shoes, they had a little cloth, they would all wipe their own tables and chairs. Here if you do them, it is something different. So that is another learning thing which you come back and tell them, that you talk about a place like Japan, but just see what they are doing. So that was another sort of learning experience that I had. When we went to Thailand and were having a tie-up with them, again, they are such humble people, not pompous, not showing off. And you see the children, the way they interact with you, as if they are hungry to learn something from you. Here we were learning from them. These are the things which have to be learned, because knowledge will anyway can be learned. Knowledge is everywhere. It is at the click of a button. What is it that you have to learn? These are the things. And these are the things that I learned. And I try and, put it in my students as well, hoping that someone, someday, somewhere will be impacted by it. And as when we went for audit to Abu Dhabi and other places, again, when you're auditing, you are actually going into the minutest detail of things, detailing. When you are in your own school, you overlook it. When you're going, then you have been trained to look at these things. You do that, but when you come back, it is there in your mind. And you say, okay, should I also be doing it? I was standing there tall, trying to tell them this is not right, or writing that this should be done this way. Have I done it? Where am I lacking? So it helped me to improve myself and my school a little bit. So if you are open, and if you don't have this thing in your mind that I know it all, which you can't. So if you have this, you will be learning so much and become so richer and richer by each experience. So this is what, yes.
Yeah. And Jerry talks very beautifully about the concept of namaste that began somewhere in India, but the Thai people have taken it so beautifully. Their namaste and the way they do it is so
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Kapunka. It's
Swadika,
Kapunka.
yeah, yeah,
Swadika.
yeah. Also, another thing that you talked about was that, children would take out their shoes outside and come inside and clean their things. Also, that happens in Japan, where the students clean the schools or themselves. So
Yes.
this idea of entitlement
Mm.
and everyone being same, and you have
Yes.
to, that hunger for learning and coming to a place like school where you you do things for yourself and for others as well. So what do you have to say about that? That entitlement thing is
That
more.
is what I learned in Japan, and I have been trying to do it in my school. I've not been very successful. Not been
Really?
very successful, yes, because somehow it is always felt that you have PNs and you have this, and you are sort of paying for it. So why should my child do it?
That's exactly what I'm saying about the entitlement, where the parents, or as a society, we feel we deserve it, we are giving the money, our
Yes,
children, why should they do it? That
yes.
kind of thing.
So I have not been successful. So it is like, an eye wash, I would say. I'm being absolutely open. Once a week or once in 15 days, let's do it, a cleaning up day and all that. But that's not it. That's not it. It has to be in your blood. If
Absolutely.
you do it in the school, you will do it at home. You will do it in the society. You will not be throwing garbage outside.
Yes, exactly. I think we as Indians need to learn and relearn and unlearn a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is something that I really want that my children should pick up. I hope if they are listening today,
I am
they,
sure, I think there lots of people have started to do it, but I think it has to be still done in a better way. Uh,
yes,
Rachna ji, you were a stalwart in getting technology to your school and all of that long back. And during the pandemic, do you think that leap of faith that you took then, and you leapt forward at that point of time, did it help your children, your staff, you? How was that?
I am happy that I did it. And my staff is thankful that we did it at a time, because now
Yeah.
it was such a smooth sailing for them, for most of
Great.
them. And you know what? This started when, if I tell you when this, I'm techno challenged, by the way. But
Yes.
I know that this has to be done, but I don't know. That doesn't mean it is not important or relevant. So I made sure others do it. Way back in 1978, 79, I took my first computer course in Canada. And what happened that I gave it up because it was good that punch cards were there, and it
Yeah.
was so dull and drab, and I, being more of the creative variety, didn't like all that punching. So I gave up, but I understood a little bit. Came back. Then we were in when we were in Kanpur, we tried to do something, but then we came to Allahabad. When I came to Allahabad, you know what? Realized that computers are going to come in a big way. My husband said, if you don't know computers, that is again way back in 1981, 82. Then tomorrow you will not be able to interact with your family, your friends, and if you have kids, children, you will not be able to interact. How true it is today. And then you know what? Whatever little money we had, we bought little computers. And in a place in like Allahabad, we started a computer center. We would let children and youth come in and learn and do things on their own. And this is, I'm talking about 81, 82. That early in a place like Allahabad, people had not seen it. They used to come and see what it is. And so that is how it began. Then when we came to Delhi, I tried to do it in the Delhi school as well. Here, I began initially by having the interactive boards. Then after that, we had something which is called the snap homework, where, whatever homework had to be sent, it would go by, through the WhatsApp, through message, through mobile. After that, what happened, there was a project called, it was floated by HP, Hewlett Packard of California. They wanted a school in India, a school in Africa, and one school in California. They wanted that these three schools should do maths and science through tablets, not books. Again, it is about 5, 6 years back, 7 years back. And then let us see the impact. There was a lot of competition, and the one school in India that was selected, it was our school. And they gave us 100 tablets and we distributed it to the children. We studied maths and science. Initially, there was a drop in learning because the children were playing games. Later
Right.
on, they became better than the others.
Hmm.
Seeing this, the Australian, there was called Learn Meter. The Australians, they also came and they said, we want a project with you all wherein we will teach maths to the sixth class through tablets. We did that. It was again something which was very, very beautiful, and we learned it. When we did all this, we realized that now cyber security and
Hmm.
cyber ethics and all is very important, because
Right.
if not today, tomorrow is going to be. You will not believe, we were the first school in Delhi where all our students from class 4 to class 10 took, they were given special classes. They took a course, and the exams were taken by the EC Council of US. Barring one child, everybody cleared, so that at least they know the cyber rules, the sort of ethics, what are the repercussions of it. All these things we did. We were the first who did it in Delhi. So this is, and again, it is about what, 8 years back, 9 years back, it is that old. So these were the things we started doing. And when we did this, you know what, all teachers from class 5 to class 8 were anyway very good, because they were teaching through their tablets. And whatever, and then what happened afterwards, after all this was done, when this pandemic came, it was sort of very, because they were anyway using the smart board, all of them. They were making their content, they were uploading it, they were using the WhatsApp and sending small little, as I said, sort of small nuggets of learning materials in bullet points to the children. So all this was going on. Children were doing these little videos and making it and giving. So because of all that, thanks to all that, it was really a smooth sailing for us. Today we have done online, we've done PTMs, we have done a farewell of a teacher through online. We have done all India debate competition. We have done. We've done inter-school, inter-house. We are going to have a big Independence Day celebration on the 13th, where about 2,000 parents would be watching. So we will all be doing it, and children will be performing.
Are you happy with this, or you miss the live school?
I
Are you
miss it.
it
I
should be mix of what you do now and what you used to
Yes.
do? What's your take
As
on
they
that?
say, the new word that has come, blended learning. So I would sort of, or hybrid learning is what they are talking
Right.
about. I would want that. I do miss school.
A
I do.
hybrid learning.
Yes,
I
because
think
I am more of a people's person. As I told
yes.
you, I'm techno challenged. Just now, talking to you like this, I don't feel very nice about it. But at
We
the
do
same time, I've
have
got
other.
comfort with it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's very very important, and I think new things should be brought in, but some of the things that have been proven and used for time immemorial, I think this people, classroom and
Connect.
having this emotional connect and that's very very important to have that kind of uh, mix of
Yes.
the class
Yes, because
and the
if we
teacher.
do not have this, you know what,
Yeah.
tomorrow it will be difficult for the children to interact with people in flesh and blood.
Yeah. No, I think
They
that's
will
very important
shy
for
away, shy
emotional
away.
bonding and a whole lot of other learning
Yes,
experiences.
absolutely, absolutely. I don't know, they'll shy away, they will not like to be, they will feel whether I'm
Yeah.
looking good or not. All those, so many things will come in. And then again, it will be a lopsided personality,
Yeah.
skewed
I mean,
personality.
a lot of children have told me that, online used to be fun. It's
Hmm.
no more fun. That fun
Yes.
part is gone out of it.
Oh yes, one of my a mother has just written to me saying that can you reduce the screen time? I said, well, it's only 1.5 hours. When she was at home, the child was at home. She was using the your this mobile, playing games for hours. It was all right. Now it is
Studying.
when it comes to utilizing it for study purposes, then all these problems come. You
That's
have to intermittently do it. You can't have it in one stretch.
Yeah, I think going to school was so many many things, meeting your friends,
Yes.
meeting your teachers, having interaction. It was a going out. It was so much more beautiful. And I think all those students who say don't feel like going to school, I wish school is closed for some time. Then after
Absolutely, absolutely. Now they're wishing. When will
Yeah.
and I think it's not that they're wanting academics or teachers, they're missing their friends and the fun
Yeah.
and the tomfoolery that used to happen. And I miss that too. Because I was a very mischievous child.
Yeah, I know, I know. Rachna, you've been awarded globally, internationally, one of some of the most prestigious awards in the country as an educator. What's your take on awards?
First thing is, it should not go into your head, because you know, if you have got it, there will be lots more. There will be a lot of other people also who would be going. So you do not have, as they say in Hindi, surka aapke par nahi lag gaye hain aapke. You are lucky that you have been recognized for whatever little bit that you are doing. So that is the first thing. Second thing, it should have a very humbling effect. At least for me, I am scared. I'm nervous because it makes you realize that, oh my God, I have to do so much. I have done, I've done nothing, almost nothing. That's the thing. And when I compared this with my family, I actually realized I have been lucky, but I have not done anything. Because my grandmother's grandfather was Madan Mohan Malviya. And when she would tell stories, I realized that I'm just a drop in the ocean, done nothing. My grandfather himself was a barrister, first Indian barrister at Harvard. What have you done? Nothing have you done. But yes, one little thing that I think I've done is that I have tried to touch the hearts of the children, because I realized when I saw my own son, a very scared and nervous boy, thinking his mother is not going to live. That was the time I made up my mind. I will not try and bring pain or sadness into the hearts of the children. Who knows what is in store for which child? Let them be happy. So these awards and all are just trying to tell me, make some more lives happy, bring some joy into children's life. That's all. But I've done nothing as of now. Very little. I feel
No,
sad about it.
we at Rex currently say that our award, it's a responsibility that we shoulder upon people to do
Yes,
better, to make the world a better place for what
absolutely.
they gain.
Miles to go.
Yeah. So at this note, I'm going to invite Jerry back into our conversation
Mhm.
and take it forward with him.
Yeah.
Jerry?
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Hello, Jerry.
Yes, namaste, Rachna ji, once again.
Namaskar.
Yes. So yeah, brilliant conversations. I got picked up some great insights over there about how we need to do things where we don't feel entitled.
Finding
Can't
it
hear you,
difficult.
Jerry.
Can't hear you.
Very feeble.
Yes, very feeble.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Better.
yes,
Is it better?
yes,
Yes,
Okay.
Jerry.
So I was saying that I listened into you very carefully about your thoughts and insights on awards, and I completely agree. Our awards should not go to our heads, nor should it be the reason that we are doing something that we are doing. And yet there are many people who only do things for the sake of awards. What are your
yes.
insights on that?
I agree, especially in today's world. It's like a rat race.
It
How,
is.
how, how do I buy an award?
Yeah. And the sad part is, I mean, sometimes when you see some education awards, they sound not only farcical and fraudulent, but they also kind of make you laugh, not with joy, but laugh with sorrow. That how do educators and schools fall for things like this? For
Yes,
examples, educator awards to be held on a yacht.
yeah,
That
yes,
that becomes like something which is like a big novelty thing. Now the organizers, I won't even reflect on them because they're not worth it. But what happens to all those schools and educators who fall over each other to go and get that award on a yacht? What does that tell you about the schools or educators?
it tells one is that maybe you do not have confidence in yourself. Maybe you want to show that you have achieved and reached, and maybe you want to prove something to the management.
So it's
Very,
basically people's insecurity and lack of
yes,
validation. The
yes,
internal validation is not there because of which
yes,
they're always looking for external validation. And
absolutely.
and then you have schools, colleges, NGOs, and so-called social activists and workers who make it like a danda to sit down and apply for awards.
Yes.
Then I'm wondering when do they educate the children, or when do
They
they
have,
do their social work?
oh, they have money, so they employ one person to do all this.
Right. And then you have this entire organizations which have created education awards with rate cards, which they know and the educators know can be negotiated.
Yes.
But the whole thing is to say we appeared in the Forbes list, which is like a
Hmm.
paid list,
Yes.
है ना? Or we have appeared in the so and so education list, which is also
Yes.
a paid list. I,
Absolutely. They asked me once as to why your name is not coming in the, those, first top 10 schools and things like this. You
right.
know, I said, maybe because I do not know the right people and I don't care.
So how do we bust rackets like these? Because these are all rackets
Yes, of course they are
run by
racket.
racketeers, including the schools which operate like this. Those schools are also rackets.
Yes,
Would you agree?
I agree. Totally, totally
Right.
agree. Yeah.
So I mean, and I'm saying this, I won't name the school, but we are rolling out this entire learning program called Rex Karmavir Scholar Fellowship, as we are calling it now.
Mm-hmm.
And our slugline is that it's a volunteering and life skilling fellowship, right?
Hmm.
It's a life skilling. We had called it International Volunteering Olympiad earlier. Then because we are imparting a lot of life skills through the
Hmm.
medium of volunteering and through personal engagement with the students, the teachers, and the parents.
Hmm.
And that is what we had discussed at the award ceremony last year, where you were awarded.
Yes.
And I remember around two and a half or 3 years ago, I was having dinner with this lady who's the director of a group of schools. And she said, Jerry, for all other schools, you can have your standard fee. Because I said, we have a standard fee since we need to kind of sustain this, at the same time pay instructors and trainers who will be going and conducting the training programs. And then we have kept a small part of that fee, a small 15%, as a standard process which we are giving to schools, because we are also training teachers to become
Hmm.
our mojo inspirator coaches.
Hmm.
And she says, with all schools you can do it at this fee, because we were talking about some 2,500 rupees for the initial schools that sign up with us. She said, but with us we will mark up, we will pay you your 2,500 rupees, but we will mark up and charge the parents more. And if you are agreeable to that, we sign on with you with all the schools we have, some
Hmm.
100 plus schools that she had. She said,
Hmm.
ma'am, what are we teaching the children? We're teaching them values and ethics.
Yes.
And you're asking me something to do something unethical. I said, I'm sorry, I don't want your 100 schools, ma'am. But how do you kind of discuss or talk to racketeers like this? That's my big question to you.
As a matter of fact, even I have been very pained because I know of a few people who do this, and they're so much seeped into it that it is very, very difficult for anybody to come out of it, because it's like a rat race now. How many awards have you got? How many awards have I got? Unless the people themselves have the backbone and the gumption to say, I do not want it,
Right.
and the management said, till that time, till जिसको कहते हैं जब तक कि जमीर नहीं जागेगा,
Hmm.
तब
No,
तक
and I was surprised because I'd given her the entire presentation of what we are doing
Hmm.
with the volunteering and life skilling fellowship for children, because we are teaching them character, we are teaching them character rooted learning, so that they become better human beings who are happy and holistically healthy going forward, right?
Hmm.
Because most education, modern education, whether it's schools or college or B schools, they prepare you to become a career mule, make money, get successful. They don't realize that in all that, materialism is not where the happiness and true success is, because the true success is in making a contribution and creating value for society and for humanity and for the self, which
Yes.
finally leads to happiness, because happiness can never happen because of materialistic things.
Right.
And here is this woman, after explaining everything to her, who says, you mark up the prices and we will pay you, and don't worry about it, we'll take care of it. The parents will follow what we tell them to do.
These values and all, these are like badges which you have to use in order to
Right.
show.
Right.
That is all. Inside it is.
And they'll have all those values like integrity or
Oh
honesty
yes,
without
yes.
without
It's there
understanding
on the
what it means on the plaque at their receptions.
yes, yes. That's what I'm saying. It's there on the board. It's there in their almanac. It's everywhere, and they talk about it on the from the platform. I marvel at such people.
Right.
From the platform, they talk about such big, great things that they're doing, and that's why I shy away and come into my shell because I say I haven't done anything. And
Right.
they're doing such great job.
Right.
But this
Right.
is what it is:
Right.
farce.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And I'll come to the next insight which I want from you before we wrap up. What do you think about this entire education reforms which were announced yesterday as a mandate? What are your thoughts on that? There any?
See, any change that happens is a welcome change.
Right.
34 years,
Right.
and we have been stagnating. So at
Right.
least that is there. I haven't read it in depth to be honest with you,
Why do you
but
say why I mean everybody's talking about 1986, but why do you say 34 years we have been stagnating? Can you elaborate on that?
because for 34 years there has been a change, so much of change has happened. Have you done change? Those changes have come in the education system.
Hmm.
No. Have you changed your policy
So
to
then
suit the future?
why did it take so long to bring in those changes? 1984 to 2020 is the 34 years that you're talking about.
Right.
1986 is when the process started. I remember I passed out of school in that year,
Okay.
right? And
Hmm.
don't try to guess my age by that.
And don't guess my age.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
your
I wouldn't do that with your age. Yeah. So 1986 to
mother.
2020, right? Why has it taken so long? So many governments have been there now. Now, of course, Modi ji is taking credit for it. Good for him. But what's the problem?
The problem is because that is last on my priority list.
Ah,
If it is
why?
first on my priority list, I would give it importance no matter which government came.
Right,
Education was not priority.
right. In
Simple.
fact, keeping people less educated is better.
Yes, because it helps you. It helps in the vote bank politics.
Right. Because, yeah, keep them under your thumb. है ना? Because
Absolutely.
वैसे कीड़े मकोड़े हैं.
बिल्कुल आप पढ़ा दोगे तो सोचने
Ah,
लगेंगे तो आर्ग्यू
right.
करेंगे तो आपकी बात नहीं
सवाल
मानेंगे
पूछेंगे,
तर्क करेंगे
सवाल पूछेंगे, है ना?
ओहो
इनको
what a mess
अंगूठे के नीचे
created.
रखो.
Yes.
Right. I completely agree with you. Now, the other thing which I realized is that there's this entire thing about, the vernacular medium
Hmm.
being implemented till class 6, and it's very fuzzy,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
Not fuzzy logic, but very I mean,
Not clear.
it's very gray.
Yes.
They're not saying it's a mandate, they're not saying it is voluntary. It's gray. And at the
Yes.
same time, I basically do corporate training, so I go to some of the biggest MNCs and public organizations where I meet housekeeping staff,
Hmm.
and where I meet facility management staff. We have
Hmm.
one of our colleagues who's in a similar business, providing security guards and facility managers and housekeeping staff and janitorial services. And when I have time during my tea break, when I'm not talking to the executives who are attending my training program,
Hmm.
I just talk to them over when I'm fixing my cup of tea or coffee because they are hanging around over there. And then when I talk to them, I realize, the PhD ki hai,
Hmm.
right? And he's working as a housekeeping or a janitorial staff. Why? Because he doesn't know English.
Yes.
The only thing missing between him, who has done a PhD, and that chap who's attending a training with me who can speak a little English, not that their English is also any better,
Hmm.
but थोड़ा बहुत आता है बीपीओ में काम चलाने के लिए, है ना? बीपीओ
Hmm.
सुना होगा आपने.
हाँ.
तो बीपीओ में वैसे मतलब सब गधा मजदूरी है. I mean, Narayan Murthy says he's created a big venture, but
Yes.
it's mostly labor management, rate arbitrage, right?
Absolutely.
उनके नौकरियां लेके यहाँ पे मतलब गधा मजदूरी कर दिया. I call them career mules. Not the fault of the employees, because we are training them like that.
Right.
Here is a guy who's done his PhD, which means I have not done my PhD.
Hmm.
He's done his PhD, but he's done it in Malayalam
Hmm.
or Telugu or Punjabi or Gujarati. And now when you're saying that we are implementing major education reforms,
Hmm.
you're saying the medium of instruction will be in the vernacular till class 6.
Hmm.
So are we progressing or are we regressing?
I feel we are regressing.
Because what will
Because
you do if the children are not going to understand the currency of English, which is the most essential for career enhancement? What are you doing to them?
then there will be another argument on the flip side that earlier education used to be in the vernacular language till class 6 and from class till class 5, and from class 6 the English used to be introduced, like in UP it used to be like this, but they all did very well.
But I
This
went to school.
argument
I
will
went to school in Bombay. In Bombay, the medium was always English.
hmm,
In Goa, I think it was Konkani, and I can see that with a lot of cousins and friends from my age group, they can't speak English properly even today,
hmm, hmm.
which means that they have been left behind somewhere.
Yes.
And with this, where you're saying that in the year 2020,
Hmm.
where India is talking about rubbing shoulders with the best in the world, because
Hmm.
everybody loves using this
Hmm.
world class education, है ना?
Hmm.
I mean, Modi ji to has declared centers of excellence of universities which have not even been built.
Hmm.
Foundation mein nahi laga, but they're called centers of excellence, like Ambani's center.
Center of
So
excellence.
that is far away, because when that center will come up, we don't know, but it is already a center of excellence, right? So is it that we are doing all lip service and jiggery poggery and because I mean with a mandate like this, until and unless RSS and BJP creates enough jobs for people as RSS pracharaks
Hmm. Hmm.
doing propaganda and fake propaganda like Arnab Goswami, I don't see any future for these people.
Absolutely, what you are saying is right, but again, since you said it's a gray area, what I heard, I think I heard the chairman in PSC talk, CBSC saying that one can teach in whatever language one wants. If you want to teach in English, go ahead and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And people from maybe the south or from Odisha, if they want to use their mother tongue, let them do that. So there will be this freedom to sort of teach in the language that they want.
No, but ma'am, that is again contradictory to what the basic mandate says. The basic mandate says that it should be a standard process of education.
Hmm.
So the moment you say standard process of education, it has to be implemented.
Right.
If you leave it gray, then the execution goes awry.
Hmm.
Like demonetization, like GST. So now you want to mess up the entire education system by leaving it gray.
Making it gray. Yeah, so it helps, na?
Helps whom? Smriti Irani is our education minister, so helps her. Who's the education minister right now? Not worth knowing, right?
So,
I mean, helps. Not that Congress is any better.
yeah,
You had an education minister over there,
yes,
who didn't understand the E of education,
yeah,
right? So they are all the same. Kapil
yeah,
Sibal implemented RTE without really thinking through the process,
yes.
right? So what I'm trying to say is, are these guys really bothered? Because the moment you say we are going to create a standard process and then you leave an area gray, the standard process has completely gone awry right from the mandate stage.
Stage,
And
yes,
then we have understood that when you don't explain and clarify expectations properly, whether it is demonetization or GST or Ghanti Bajao, Tali Bajao during the lockdown, then the people do things randomly
hmm.
and you have chaos.
Yes.
So which means now you're creating chaos in an already messed up education system.
Education system, right? And now there will be lots of talks on it. No? There will be debates and there will be seminars and there will be this thing which will try and clarify as to what it means.
So are you
We
saying
had
then, are you
lots of
saying, ma'am,
seminars.
that whatever our state is doing, whatever our country is doing, is all basically to do this debates on Republic TV and NDTV? Because it's not helping any of us.
Yeah, but that's the thing that has happened. And but they have now, when we were listening to him, he said that no, you can go on with the sort of the English language teaching from the from the primary level, and it's left to you to
This is
decide.
your
It should not have been there at all.
this is you're talking about the CBSE chief.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I have really no respect for the CBSE or ICSE or whatever chief, because they're all acting like nincompoops. right? I mean, I remember when there were not enough cases of
COVID.
corona infected people in March, they had clamped down on the exams when
Mm.
our eldest son, also had four papers left, four
Mhm.
examinations left. And then when corona peaked, when
We are both
corona infections peaked, they said, let's have the exams. So these
yes,
guys are talking, I mean, they're talking nonsense.
yes.
How was
They have not. You have to.
you guys should counter them and put them in their place.
You have not, actually gone through the whole process to understand that is what is required. So the people who are at the helm and those who are close, they are the people who should be sort of actually talking. Whether people will listen or not, that's a different question.
That's true. That's true.
That's
And that's what I mean. My basic fear is that this entire mandate, which has been announced,
Hmm.
because I mean, you must give it to Narendra Modi's trolls and IT, the BJP IT cell, as it is called. They immediately put out, Modi government unveils new education policy 2020, budget increase to 6%. The 10+2 system will be divided into 5+3+3+4. But they failed to mention that by leaving this area of the medium of instruction gray, they have already messed up the entire system,
System.
right? So
Yeah.
it looks like what you're saying is absolutely right, that they only do this to create debates on Republic TV, because I'm sure that Amit Shah or Narendra Modi has a stake in that. And then they do it because they want to put out all these IT troll memes. Narendra
Mhm.
Modi, because Narendra Modi's got a 56-inch chest, which needs to be puffed up even more, right? It finally boils down to that.
Right.
So what do you think? I mean,
That
there was
is
a
going.
there was a time, ma'am, when I used to stop people from going overseas. I used to say, don't do a brain drain in the country.
Hmm.
Why are the best minds going overseas?
Hmm.
Today, when the moment somebody says I'm planning to go overseas, I say, nikal ja, jaldi nikal ja. Because not only are we acting like nincompoops and morons, whether it's the CBSE or the ICSE chief or the prime minister of the country, but we are also going to make morons out of the larger public.
Public.
And that's the scary part, because we're already a regressive nation where people can't think. Not that America is any better, they're the same. And that's how Trump is president over there, because in America, in a census in 2017, many educated Americans believe that brown chocolate is made from brown milk that comes from brown cows. And this is not a joke, it's a fact. It was a national survey. Now you know how Trump is president,
Oh yes, of course.
right?
And he's going to win again. That's the prediction.
Right. In our country, with cows, we have done everything from cow urine to how the cow can reduce your blood pressure,
Right.
right? And now we know how Modi is prime minister. So it's very scary that you have a leader up there who's being emulated by a whole lot of clowns, and on the other side, you have this polarization which is happening,
Hmm.
right? I'm Hindutva, Muslims are bad, Catholics are bad. So do you really see a future for the students who are being churned out by the education system today, because a lot of them are also being brought up in this kind of an environment?
Environment.
what
That's the
what are your insights on this?
that's the reason one is scared, and the school has a very major role. And the to actually tell the parents rise above this, because one may say something in school for a 5 hour or a 6 hour, but the 18 hours the child is at home.
Right.
So the impact of the parents and the society that he is there, or the neighborhood, is going to
Right.
play a very major role. And this transformation, this changing of mindset, will take a long, long time. It's a
Right.
very scary thing.
Right. And it's very scary because, I mean, because you can teach them secularism and how to be equal in school, but at
Hmm.
home the parents are teaching them something else, whether it's Christianity, where we are taught that Jesus Christ hung on the cross for 6 hours, and after that, when they put him in the tomb, he rose again. I've never understood where he rose, right?
Hmm.
And I'm a little surprised that with all his honesty, Jesus should have died properly, no? But he cheated death and he went to heaven and now he's ruling people in the kingdom of heaven,
in the kingdom.
right? So this is the kind of nonsense we are taught as Christians. And then you have the Hindus who are taught that, that Bhishma Pita was on a bed of arrows for 58
Arrows, yes.
days and he had Icha Mruti. And this was actually a conversation happening in my school group yesterday. And I
Okay.
said, I said, now I know where the concept of the Ichadari Nagin came from, right? Because and he was like one of the guys who was actually talking about this and giving this gyan, said, what nonsense? I said, exactly,
Hmm.
because it's not nonsense, because in my childhood I used to believe in the Ichadari Nagin. Thank God I have matured now. But if you believe in Icha Mrityu and all that kind of nonsense, because if Bhishma Pita really had to know when he could wish his death, why was he just hanging around for 58 days on a bed of arrows? Pretty foolish of
Because he
him,
was waiting for the right time.
right? And my point being that these are educated parents who are teaching children this. It's scary.
That's the scary part. That's the scary part. Those children like coming from the middle or level, for them it is different. But those who are somewhere in the corporate or this, they are teaching. That is
Right,
even more scary.
right. But on a serious note, do you believe in the Ichadari Nagin?
If I could become an Ichhadari Nagin, I could do a lot of things.
Okay, I was just joking, but it's completely, I mean, it's completely bizarre, the kind of stuff that we have grown on. I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean, that's probably why a lot of snakes have got killed in this country, because we are even taught in childhood that the snakes are very dangerous and they will harm you, when science proves that the snake has never had any intent of harming any human being. In
Things.
fact, even if they're passing you, they won't do any harm to you. And there's an entire village in Maharashtra, right here in this country, where snakes are kept at home as pets.
Well, I've seen a lot of snakes in my hometown in
Right,
Allahabad. I have
right.
just picked it up, little realizing that I was holding a snake.
No, no, in Maharashtra, there's a village where the snakes are
Yes,
like pets
yes,
in the
yes.
house, and they go, along with the children, they go to school. So
Oh,
it's,
this I
yeah,
didn't know. The second
yeah.
part I didn't know, but
But
about
but
this,
but but most of us, because of all the Nagin movies that we saw, including in Goa, we were taught that if you throw a stone and it falls on a snake, the snake comes looking for revenge. Like the snake is
yes,
some
yes.
mafia don who believes in
Yeah,
vendetta or
and
things like
and if it gets captured, your face gets captured in the
that.
eyes,
Yeah,
and
right.
the mate will come and take revenge.
Absolutely. So we've grown up on, and that's exactly what I was telling my friends in the school group yesterday, that the Ichadari Nagin surely is a concept which was seeded by this Icha Mrityu stuff. And
Hmm.
they didn't see the humor in that. But but the point is, with such kind of blind beliefs, I can only see us becoming more funnier and
Regressive.
more regressive and more stupid going forward. And that is exactly, I think, what the politicians want. And I
That
hope that they don't destroy the little sanity that we have in the education system
that's the
by
fear,
by
because
making it even more aggressive.
the world is changing so fast, and we have to move very fast and forward. Otherwise, we'll be left way, way behind. And we can keep on harping and saying we were Soni ki Chidiya and we had all the Nalanda and the Takshila and everything. That
Right,
was not going to help. That's
right.
not going to
Yeah, forget Nalanda, Takshila. We had the innovators and inventors who created the first Viman in this country.
help. Huh?
RSS and BJP has been saying that from 2014. And then we go and buy Rafale jets from France.
Because
And
we
the
lost
en-
everything, na?
and the entire country is rejoicing for delivery of 5 Rafale jets.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. It's a very sad time for India, and I think we need to rise above this. So, thank you so much for those brilliant insights and your very candid thoughts and insights. Pleasure having you with us on the Inspirex conversation with Itu Chopra. Any closing thoughts that you and Itu have before we say good evening to everybody?
Just let us rise and become more humane. Let
Absolutely.
us. That is
Absolutely.
what I want.
Yeah, because if you're not becoming more humane, then happiness and holistic health will never happen for people.
Never.
And I don't think they realize that.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. That's an excellent closing thought. Yes, Itu ma'am, any thoughts from you?
I think humane and joy of giving should be a prime thing and
Yes.
big takeaway for children, because that gives a lot of joy of living.
Yes.
And
Right.
I think teachers and principals like you should certainly have a say in the new NPA, the educate NEP. They must
NEP.
have a say. I think we should find a way for people with sanity to be able to say things and make it black and white, or not leave it gray at all ever.
Right.
I hope the voices are heard. We are definitely, the group is going to be talking about it, deliberating about it, and then let's see how things, take
And
shape.
my humble request to you as a teacher who's engaged with the CBSE board and the CBSE chief, and
Yeah.
I am not too kind with words for people who don't take right decisions and behave stupid because they need to lick up to somebody over there. I would
Hmm.
sincerely humbly request all educators, including you and other principals and directors, engage with these guys. Don't let them mess up the education system. It does not belong to their father or mother. It belongs to the people of India, and they have to do what is right for the people. And English as a medium of instruction is a must if you want to
Absolutely.
take people into the next
Next.
into the next progressive state, failing which we are going to just regress more and go more behind. And the other thing which I want to clarify is about this joy of giving. When people think that you can't fake the joy of giving, it has to happen sincerely. Only then the happy chemicals in your brain start flowing. And I think people should do it more as a sincere act of giving rather than doing it for a photo op, or
Tokenism and to get some award,
yeah, not as a lip service.
recognition.
Absolutely. So I think I would like to say that finally, since the joy of
Absolutely.
giving provoked
Absolutely.
that. Thank you so much, Rachna ma'am. Pleasure having you with us, and thank you so much for the great insights and learning. Thank you.
Thank you
Pleasure
so
learning.
much.
Rachnaji,
Thank
Thank you. See you. Have a
wonderful
good evening.
conversation with you. Thank you.
thank you.